The mother of all carnivals has come and gone and has left a bitter aftertaste for some following the festivities. This morning we're going to be taking a closer look at the greatest show on earth with publicist Tenille Clarke. Ms. Clarke, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. I mean, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I just wanted to know, how was your carnival? How was the overall experience for you?
I think it was good. I think it was, it gave us a greater understanding of our capacities in a post-COVID era.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. Steep learning curve for a lot of us, but I think it was also necessary.
Yeah. No, I love that you mentioned the capacity, because one of the things I wanted to start us off with is the logistics. A lot of people, I think, failed when it comes to the logistics in terms of if it is they had enough room for people to come. I know a lot of people were talking about their costumes had issues. I mean, even one show with the show starting late, that sort of thing. Do you think it was something that we had to relearn in terms of logistics-wise after 2 years?
I think we had to unlearn and then relearn. COVID really kind of stretched our capacity in understanding what we are capable of. And when you're looking at logistics and legacy going hand in hand, I think we have to also give ourselves grace in terms of what we were able to achieve. It's not entirely about starting from scratch, but about understanding where we are at in this moment.
Yeah. Now, as we look at funding as well, because I think one of the things that one of the conversations that started it was that we got $147 million for this carnival. Some people were saying it may not be enough and how that was going to be spread. Is there a way to track how beneficial that was for us? I mean, are we going to be seeing returns coming out of what we just see last week, Monday and Tuesday?
Well, I think success is a measurable that will mean different things for different people. So you will have the economic impact, you'll have the socio-cultural impact, you'll have the legacy and the heritage impact. So people will be looking for different answers and different measurables based on what they're in it for. Yeah. So for bands, obviously, the economic impact is something that is of a major concern, because you have production lines, and not just in overseas, but right here at home as well. I know that there were a lot of complaints and lamentations from producers about their ability or their lack thereof to get work and things of that nature. So it all depends on who you're asking that question.
Well, let's look at it in terms of, so we spoke about the bands. They may have seen some economic benefits because, of course, some sections were sold out. For us as a country, is it that we are seeing, for example, did we get more tourists? Do you think we got more tourists? Do you think it was a matter of us actually increasing that foreign exchange that a lot of people are so seeking, especially as they look to go abroad this coming year?
I think that there was some benefit as it relates to foreign exchange. However, we also have, I believe the Ministry of Tourism would have released figures back in 2020 or 2021, where they said the average day, or the average number of days rather, that visitors enter the country would be for about 13 days. And Carnival, the 3 weeks immediately preceding Carnival, actually accounts for 9% of our entire visitor bubble for the entire year. So when you look at those measurables, I think that those are the tangibles and the data that we really need to have access to kind of reassess and reaffirm where our commitments need to lie.
Yeah. In terms of our cultural products, so we had Carnival, we had Mass on the Road Monday and Tuesday, but that lead up, of course, is our fetting season. A lot of new fets came out, a lot of existing ones happened, but we missed Soca Monarch. Was it missed?
I definitely believe it was missed. I started off my career in the belly of Soca Monarch, and I definitely do believe that it's an indispensable platform, not just for artists, but also for the persons that work behind the scenes, the publicists, the managers, the logistics teams. That gives them a real opportunity to marry skill with legacy.
Yeah. Yeah. So is it that the new artists or the younger artists could have found like a different platform to showcase?
I think we need to bring Soca Monarch back, but I think that there was a massive disruption to the way that we see Soca Monarch, the way that we package it, the way that we present it to the world. Yeah. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board. I definitely also believe that there's an opportunity here for a strengthening of public-private partnerships. We can't expect the government to make this the only sustainable product, or they can't be just the primary stakeholder. I think it also boils down to individual responsibility as well in terms of the way that we involve ourselves and the way that we interact with the product.
But then how do we make it sustainable? Is it that now in this down period, do we have training sessions? Do we have conversations with stakeholders? How do we make this product sustainable so that we don't have that dependence on the government?
I think that even thinking of it as a down period is a bit of a moot point, because we should be planning year-round for the sustainable model to be something that standardizes the expectations of the industry and the industries, because you see an intersectionality among the industries. You see the artists, you see the music industry, you see the luxury industry, you see the carnival industry. So there's an intermingling there and an interdependency there that we absolutely have to take stock of and stop thinking of it. We have to innovate the way that we think towards the product as a whole.
Yeah. Is it as simple as attending a course at UTT?
I think that is one of the things. I would like to see a more academic-based approach towards the carnival experience. Why do we not have PAN in schools? Why aren't we teaching about the history and heritage? And I know of some organizations, for example, there is an organization called Everything Sly Pepper. They had a program called Player Mass where they involved children in terms of the history and the heritage. When you look at the jab and the history of all of those things, we may not be able to change the ideas and the ideologies of past generations, but the future generation is right there for us to educate and to help them kind of integrate their own way of thinking as it relates to the overarching carnival product.
Yeah, I'm going back to logistics again, because I know this was one of the major concerns. Some people have mentioned, of course, they would have complained about bands cutting in front of them. Loyal masqueraders would say, listen, this is the norm, bands have cut in front of me, I know my band has cut in front of others. Is space an issue? Do we need to relook at having that one major stage that people need to cross? Do we need to go back to going down to downtown and going to the different judging sites to see how everybody can get that easy flow of access into the Queen's Park Savannah and beyond?
I definitely think that the Downtown Carnival Committee did their absolute best with the resources that they had access to. However, I think that there also needs to be a bigger look at the decentralization of the carnival experience. Carnival is, Port of Spain will always be the hub, Port of Spain will always be home. I grew up in East Dry River, so I grew up in the belly of the carnival experience. But we have to decentralize a little bit. There are carnivals happening simultaneously in Arima, in San Fernando, in various parts of the East. Why are we not maximizing on the potential of those systems that are in place in order to make it a truly national product?
Yeah, but then how do we get that culture shift to get people to understand that, okay, crossing the big Savannah stage is not the end all?
I think that it's about personal and individual responsibility, but I also think that there needs to be a program or an education program that help people to understand the significance of certain things. I know that a few years ago there were a lot of people saying they don't want to cross behind the bridge. Behind the bridge in East Dry River, it holds such significant spiritual and cultural impact to the essence of what Carnival is about. You can't have Carnival without passing through East Dry River. You can't have Carnival without the downtown experience. But we also need to innovate and look at the bigger picture and logistically look at what will work best for everyone.
Now, coming out of Carnival, of course, we had a ton of apologies, right? Everybody was apologizing, right? To say the least. Everybody sent out a nice little press release. It was proofread. It was done nice. It was posted to all their social media platforms. Everybody knew that they were sorry. Is that enough for somebody who is patronizing your event?
I don't think that it is enough. I think that we are at this stage now where larger organizations need to incorporate a communications plan into the very fabric of how you operate your business. You have to take this is not a situation where you're going around the corner and you're loaning somebody money. This is people's hard-earned money that they're coming to have an experience. We need to do better from a communication standpoint and put the necessary systems in place. Corporate entities do it all the time. Think of it as a corporate entity. These organizations are paying taxes like everyone else. make sure that you're putting the proper communications, reputation management, and crisis communications plans in place to manage the expectations of your brand identity.
Yeah, and I love that you talk about managing the expectations, because one of the narratives that was coming out of Carnival is that our expectation was too high. I mean, it was touted as the mother of all carnivals, and so you were waiting 2 years to see this big thing, and then it almost flopped when you finally experienced it. Do you think we went into this carnival with more than we were expecting, and so because of that, we kind of ended up a bit disappointed at the end?
No, I think that the term Mother of All Carnivals was meant to be aspirational. I don't think that people expected it to be perfect, but we have to understand that we have to aspire towards something. It's important for people to understand the many moving parts of the carnival experience. Yeah. So it's not just about mass or just about music. It's about legacy, it's about history, it's about heritage, it's about culture. And I think we needed that Mother of All Carnivals phrase to get excited about the product potential that we have in our national product.
Yeah. At this point in time, do you think we still have the best carnival in the region?
Absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely.
I mean, what sort of features makes it that unique sort of carnival that people are still copying to this day?
We live in the belly of a cultural experience that no other carnival. Trinidad Carnival is responsible for the spawning of over 150 carnivals around the world. And we have to acknowledge and understand the imperativeness of what that means and what that cultural power wields. When I look at, I mean, shout out to St. Lucia and to Jamaica and to all the other carnival experiences, but Trinidad Carnival is the one that stands tall and stands above, a cut above the rest. We really, really need to embrace the multidisciplined identity of what it is that we offer, not just to the region, but to the rest of the world. This year, my company, in collaboration with Melanin Media, actually partnered with Tourism Trinidad to bring a press trip. So we had people from Essence and people from BBC, people from Refinery 29, and from other international organizations who would have had representatives attend other carnivals, and they will say to you with an ease and a grace that Trinidad Carnival has something special. It's an all-participating, all-encompassing approach, and it has to be all hands on deck moving forward in order for us to present the product that we want the world to see.
Yeah. No, I know that we have been talking about some of the ills and some of the issues that we have experienced with this carnival. So this is the two-parter. One of the good things that still came out despite all the challenges we had, and moving into 2024, what can we do to prevent some of those issues?
One of the things that I think I was really impressed with is the way that our generation stepped up to the plate. When I look at products like Lost Tribe and K2K, and I see them kind of taking their rightful place in the carnival ecosystem. And I think that is the thing that we are missing. This is an ecosystem. When you're speaking about sustainability and sustainable development, it's not just about planting trees and these kinds of things. It's about what makes our product sustainable, what makes our product one that we can now present to the rest of the world, but also to future generations as well. Logistically, I would really like to see us take a more refined approach to the experience, as I would have mentioned before, decentralizing the carnival experience. Port of Spain will always be the hub, it will be home, but we have multiple resources in boroughs and cities across Trinidad and Tobago that we can access. But also, most importantly, in 2024, I would love to see more public-private partnerships. And this doesn't mean that we need to throw a ton of money towards private organizations, private entities, but I would love to see people become more involved, from the big conglomerates to the very tiny businesses from around the corner. What is stopping a shop from putting a monetary contribution towards a kiddies carnival band. What can we do? And that's why I said it boils down to individual responsibility. What can we do to better enhance the product on an individual level, a community level, and then on a country level?
Tenille, is there something you wanted to read quickly?
Yes.
Because we're almost out of time, so quickly.
There's this beautiful poem that I came across from Washerwoman Stories on Instagram. So I just want to take time to read it because I think it's the perfect ending.
I'm going to give you 4 lines because we're out of time.
Okay. I hope you full joy this carnival this year and your body is tired now, having exercised its capacity for movement and jumping and joy this year. I really do. But for us to continue to full joy ourselves in the years to come, we all have work to do.
Tenille, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on the Now Morning Show. And I hope the powers that be were listening. So thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that was publicist Tenille Clarke just helping us to unpack the mother of all carnivals for 2023. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.